Would you be mad if someone saw your future and didn't warn you? And then we take a trip to Cookeville, Tennessee, to once again visit our old pal Max Kremer. But this time Max doesn't have a video game idea that he's trying to sell you or a steakhouse he's trying to build. No, he has something he wants to put inside your mouth. Today on Dead Rabbit Radio. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Dead Rabbit Radio. I'm your host, Jason Carpenter. I'm having a great day. Hope you guys are having a great day too. I hope you guys are having tons of fun doing whatever you're doing. I feel great. I actually had a pretty good weekend. It was pretty chill overall. I hope you guys had the same. I saw some really cool movies. I'll be doing some Dead Rabbit Radio recommends shortly for those later this week. But we got so much stuff to cover today. Let's go ahead and get started. First off, running into Dead Rabbit Radio Command. Everyone get on your feet. Give it up for SK grooving. Woohoo! Yeah, wee! He's running on and grooving on into Dead Rabbit Radio Command. I'm clapping lightly because I'm recording this one late at night, but SK Groovin gave a donation during our Thanksgiving live stream special, and that is why he is going to be our captain, our pilot this episode. If you guys can't support the show financially through the Patreon or the merch store or live streams, it's totally fine, it really is. Just help spread the word about Dead Rabbit Radio. That helps out so much. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone you know. Dead Rabbit Radio is your favorite paranormal show. That is how you can help the show grow. Also, remember, March 27th through the 29th, I will be at the Oregon Ghost Conference in Seaside, Oregon. I always have a blast there. I can't wait. Maybe I'll see you there. I'll put details in the show notes if you would like to come out. Even if you guys aren't able to see me, it's a great time. And like I always say, if you guys can't come out to this Ghost Conference, support ghost conferences, paranormal conferences in your area. And if there are none in your area, start one. That's your homework, to start a convention. You got to start calling vendors today. Also, this Friday is our Dead Rabbit Radio movie night. That is for our Patreon members. Both free and paid members can join us. Friday night, February 27th, is our Dead Rabbit Radio movie night. That'll be from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is for our Patreon members. Both free and paid members can join. We watch a bunch of short films. We have a blast. And if you're not a member of the Patreon, you can join the free tier, or you can join us for Saturday movie morning. That happens around, I think, 10, maybe 9 or 10. I should probably look these times up. But anyways, follow me on my socials. You'll see when these times are, when I post the links. We always have a great time. It's a lot of fun. I always look forward to it. So that is coming up this weekend. More details in the show notes below. Okay, SK Groovin', let's go ahead and get this party started. I'm going to toss you the Jason jet ski. Everyone climb on board as SK fires this bad boy up. We're leaving behind Dead Rabbit Radio Command. Why don't you jet us all the way out to Florida? The story takes place in Florida. It takes place in the afternoon. Other than that, we don't have like a year or a specific location. But anyways, we're about to meet this couple. We'll give them the names Natalie, the wife, and her husband, Jerry. And based on some context clues, I think this is a middle-aged couple, 50s, 60s, somewhere around there. They're not young and in love. They're old. They're old and in love. Natalie loves Jerry. Jerry loves Natalie. But you know what else Jerry loves? Jerry loves his motorcycle. He's out there cleaning it, buffing the exhaust pipe and dusting off the seat and giving it a nice little shine. And then he goes to sit on it, and Natalie goes, Jerry, you can't ride that bike. It's not safe. Oh, Natalie. Oh. And she wouldn't let him ride the bike, basically. I mean, maybe he just really loved cleaning his motorcycle. She saw it as a very unsafe vehicle. He did get to ride it from time to time, but for the most part, she was like, no. You can look at it, you can clean it off, but don't be riding it around. Well, on this particular day, such a beautiful day, Jerry's friends, who also have motorcycles, came over to the house and knocked on the doors almost if they were a bunch of 12-year-old boys, saying, hey, Natalie, we're gonna be motorcycling today. Can Jerry come? And Jerry's like, please, I want to go on my motorcycle. I want to do it. And Natalie's like, the weather's nice and your boys are here. They're ready to rumble with another motorcycle gang. She goes, yeah, you know what, Jerry? I think today's a great day for you to go on a motorcycle ride. Yay! They all say. Jerry starts getting his stuff together. He's going to go out and ride with the bros. And as he's getting ready to leave the house, he's all geared up. He's holding his helmet. He turns to Natalie and flashes her a big smile. That is when Natalie noticed that all of his teeth were busted to bits. It just gnarled. You're like, oh, okay, so he's bad dentist? No. He had normal teeth before this. Should have said that. It's like, oh, it was a beautiful day. Jerry's teeth were totally normal. They were all in place. You're like, what? He turns to her and his teeth were just busted. She described it as if you looked at someone who had gotten hit in the mouth with a hammer. Like some of them were broken, some of them were bent out of place, some of them sticking up at these painful angles. He turns and he flashes this smile and his teeth are completely just junked up. Natalie because obviously you'd think, I must be seeing things. Natalie, as a reaction to this, she looked away. Then she looks back at him and his teeth are the same. They're still completely busted to bits. He's looking at his wife and he goes, I love you, baby. I'll be back soon. About an hour later, Natalie's there at the house and their two dogs all of a sudden start losing it. They're all barking and stuff. But it's not just that. They're doing that weird dog thing where they're barking and whining, like alternating. Jeez, you need to work on your sound effects. Yeah, my teeth are all busted. I'm having a hard time. That's why I'm going to the dentist next week. Just download some sound effects, bro. It's not even close. It's not even close. What is that? Sounds like Michael Jackson is rolling around with the Joker. But anyways, so the two dogs, they're barking and whining. They're like alternating that. They're running around the living room and then they're scratching at the front door. Natalie's like, dude, chill out. What is going on? You guys be quiet. I think Michael Jackson is here. I'm really, really scared. I heard him. The dogs are barking and whining. They're scratching the front door. Natalie is trying to calm the dogs down and she can't. It's totally out of character for the dogs to do this. That's when her phone rings. Ring. How old is this story? 1972? No one's phone makes that noise anymore. Her phone rings, it's an Usher song or whatever. She goes and she picks up her phone. It's one of Jerry's friends. He goes, hey, Natalie, I don't know how to tell you this, but there was an accident when we were out driving. And Jerry got hit by a car. He's dead. Beautiful Florida day, middle of the afternoon. This group of friends were out on their motorcycles and a drunk driver hit Jerry. Jerry was making a U-turn and a drunk driver just plowed into him. Killed him. Tragic, right? That in and of itself is sad, drinking and driving and just dying randomly. This story was posted online by Natalie and Jerry's grandson. So that's why I think they were probably old enough to have, kids of their own to grow up and have kids. But it's an interesting story because when I read it, I go, she didn't warn him, basically. And as far as we can tell, she told this story to her grandson. And she wasn't one to make up, fanciful stories. So he believes it. He believes that it's totally true. Plus, also, his grandpa's dead. He died in a motorcycle accident. He was hit by a drunk driver. It's not like Grandpa walked in the room and goes, Natalie, are you telling that story again where I died? Because clearly I didn't. And then he sits down. His teeth are all gnarled. Jump scare. But anyways, Grandpa was dead due to a bike accident. Got hit by a drunk driver. But Grandma tells this story. It doesn't seem like she doesn't say, oh, but I always used to have these visions and I didn't say anything. Because that was my question. How bad would you feel for not saying anything? On the flip side of that, how do you say something? You say, hey, Jerry, you can't go on a motorcycle trip today. I actually think you're going to get in a really bad accident. She didn't think he was going to die. She's thinking, well, at the very least, he's going to get hit in the mouth with a hammer. You guys aren't stopping by a Home Depot, right? You guys aren't going to Lowe's on your motorcycle trip. At the very least, he was going to suffer mouth trauma. But even then, she may have just thought, oh, I'm just seeing things. Oh, I'm just stressed out. I have anxiety about Jerry riding the motorcycle. Because she had never seen anything like this before. And if she had said, Jerry, I changed my mind. I just had this vision of your teeth. They're all jagged and broken and sticking through your gums. You can't go on your motorcycle. He may have go, oh, no, I agree. Let's all hop in my car and I'm taking you to the hospital to get you checked out because you're hallucinating. Even then, though, he'd still be alive. Sometimes there's that level of ridicule where she says something and Jerry would be like, what are you talking about? Like, my teeth are totally fine. He turns away, he covers his mouth, he wipes away a tear. He's like, oh, my teeth aren't perfect, but I didn't know they were busted to bits. Oh, no. If someone said that to you, you were getting ready to go out and do an activity that you really enjoyed, and that is risky, right? It's not like he's going square dancing. He's going stomped on with a boot. You know, if someone's like wind sailing or someone, cliff diver or riding a motorcycle, competing in the X Games or something like that, they really enjoy it, and you go, dude, I just had a vision, you're going to have a horrible accident. Especially if this is the first time you've had a vision like this, it'd be like, dude, chill, like, that's not going to happen. Did you see me engulfed in flames? I'm about to ride my skateboard through a ring of fire. They would most likely, if they were constantly having these visions and you as their spouse knew they were right, even like 60, 70% of the time, he probably would have not ridden the motorcycle. He would have been like, guys, I never told you this. My wife's a little bit psychic and she just psychically saw me suffering major trauma. Now, again, I think if she thought he was going to die, he would have told her. She would have told him. I think if she had had these visions before and they were correct, she would have told him. But she didn't. And I'm not blaming her. Well, that's the interesting question here. She didn't say anything and he did die. And is she kind of responsible for that? I mean, technically, probably not. But I'm sure she feels responsible. A lot of times, I talk about this stuff on the show with friends of mine. I was talking to a good friend of mine. I was telling them this story. And they go, oh, no, that happens to me, too. I'm like, what? Your teeth get busted to bits every now and then. Your teeth look fine. They go, no. I can't ever control it. Sometimes I see things before they happen. And they said it was kind of like that. Like you see the busted teeth. And I go, and you don't warn people? They go, no. And I go, I got a little indignant. I go, listen, I know my teeth aren't the best. I don't know if I'd consider them busted. But you wouldn't tell me if my teeth were busted up. You wouldn't tell me if all of a sudden you saw me covered in rats. And they said, no, I wouldn't tell you that. And I go, well, what? That would avoid me being covered in rats. And that's when they said, no, it's not like specific like that. It's like, it is like a visual. But it may be, maybe you just have one rat on you. Maybe Templeton the rat is on your shoulder eating an apple core. Oh, Jason will have a good time with that. They don't realize they've fallen into a pit of rats and I'm the apple core. And they also said, this is interesting, I go, well, what if it was something like, oh no, I lost my shampoo and I'm supposed to wash my hair before the big meeting today. And they go, it's more like that. It's never huge, life-altering, and it's not super common either. I think there is a moral obligation, honestly, to say, hey, yo, you can't go today because I had a vision that your teeth were all busted. I think you're going to get in a car accident. And that's easy to say because, one, I believe in the paranormal. If someone that I trusted said that to me, well, that's interesting. What if someone I trusted and believed had these abilities said, I had a horrible vision that you got in a car accident on the way to the Oregon Ghost Conference? What would I do? That's interesting because before I said, well, if someone saw something happening to me, I would try to avoid it. But what if it was something that I really can't avoid? I would probably say, well, I just won't go on that day. That's honestly what I would do. If I'm going to head out there on Friday. If someone said I had a vision of you getting in a car accident, I would change my travel plans. I wouldn't go out on a Friday. Because I'm assuming, right, Jason, are you still driving a car on Saturday? The car accident could happen then. Well, yeah, it's funny because if someone said, don't go to the store today because I had a vision of you getting in a car accident in the Safeway parking lot, I'd be like, no problem, sure. But if it was something that I wanted to do, that I needed to do, weird, right? It's funny because that's what I love about doing the show, because I don't really know what I'm going to say. I have notes, but I didn't think about that. I was thinking of examples that would be easy to change, and that wouldn't be one of them. But I still think people who have this ability, they should warn others. There's a level of ridicule, and I understand that. Because if she had said, don't go out on the motorcycle ride, and he didn't, most likely nothing would have happened. The other motorcycle riders, it's not like one of them would have taken their place. The layout of the riders, right? They're riding in a certain order. It's not like someone else would die in his place. There was one less bike. There was one less obstacle. They may have noticed the drunk driver blowing through a stop sign and not hitting anyone and maybe making their way home without killing anyone. But by the time they got done riding the motorcycles, they want to think, wow, dude, if Jerry was here, he would have been killed. It would just be a weird traffic thing. If you hadn't gone on it, then there would be negative evidence. He could go, Natalie, I didn't go on the trip, and no one died. People did die in the world, and people did die in Florida on that particular day. But you would never be able to prove it because the absence of you made the accident not happen. And he may go, well, Natalie, I didn't go on the trip because, I didn't want to freak you out. And you say you saw my teeth all busted up, but everyone was fine. Everyone got home. So then Jerry might go, well, she's just anxiety. She didn't actually have this ability. It's weird, right? If she had said something and they avoided it, it would just seem like she had an anxiety attack and maybe was losing her mind. She's hallucinating. But by not saying anything, your husband died. Interesting story. And apparently one of my friends can see inconsequential futures, so that's good to know. SK Groovin', let's go ahead and toss you the keys to the world-famous Carpenter Copter. We're leaving behind Florida. Why don't you fly us all the way out to Tennessee? Quite a long time ago. It's probably been like a year, maybe a little bit more, year and a half. I got an email from a young woman, and forgive me, I don't remember who sent me this treasure trove. But she also said use a fake name, so basically I can use any name and it will be this girl, but hopefully she'll email me back. I told her, hey, yeah, when I record this, I'll let you know. And I'd forgotten, not only did I forget who sent it to me, it's been a year and a half. But we are about to unlock, talk about Forrest Finn's treasure laying out in the wilderness. Undiscovered, even by people who searched for it so much. We have been gifted our own treasure box from a young woman who will remain anonymous. We'll give her the name. The problem is that I don't remember her real name, and I don't want to give her an anonymous name that's actually her real name. We'll go ahead and name this woman Jessica. And if that's your real name, I apologize. But anyway, so Jessica is totally made up name, Jessie for short. Jessie sent me an email saying, hey, I have recently become interested in the story of Max Kremer because, well, here's the thing, if I tell you why, then you'll be like, oh, okay, well now there's one more hint as to who this Jessica really is. Basically, she emailed me and said, listen, I've recently come to know about this guy named Max Kremer, and I was doing research on him. I found your podcast. Did you know about the lawsuits? I got this message at like 3 a.m. I was up, right? I was like, wait, what? The lawsuits? We're in Tennessee. Specifically, we're headed to Cookeville, Tennessee. This is where Max Kremer currentently resides. And if you're a new listener, let me just do a quick overview. Max Kremer, he was originally sent us by Uggs, I think was this listener went by the name of Uggs. Let us know about Max Kremer. He's a homeless video game developer with delusions of grandeur. And you can't really, fault a homeless guy for wanting a better life. It's not like, hey, buddy, keep your mind on the ground, in the gutter, where it belongs. Obviously, homeless people are allowed to dream big, but we covered him a couple different times on the show. He's an insane homeless man, allegedly. Well, he was homeless at one point, but anyways, he's a video game developer who builds these websites all the time, and he's left this insane digital footprint all over. Now, most of the websites are down. And I was able to archive one of his big ones. It was a immortal Jewish car machine, where it's this belief that him and maybe 5 or 10 other people in the entire world are real. The rest of us are NPCs. Which, again, you're a homeless person. You're not going to have a clear train of thought. I'll put all these episodes in the show notes. He's a homeless video game designer. And when we first found out about him, it was just this archaeological dig on his website, just rants and raves. And we've covered him a bunch on the show. Most famously, he wanted to steal people's skin and wear it, and then take over their lives. And I always, I don't bring this up all the time because it's quite disturbing. In his list of things he wanted to do in your skin, one of them was attack your children, molest your kids, basically. That's not funny. I mean, come on, if you're going to be insane, at least be funny insane. Don't be scary insane. So anyways, yeah, and he believes that most black people are actually Asians in disguise, like they're wearing these suits, or it might be that most Asians are black people in disguise. I get it confused. If you can believe that, I'm like, oh, these rantings of a madman, oh, I can't keep them clear in my head. Well, anyways, we've covered him a ton on the show. Then we found out he was still alive. Very recently, in the past year or two, we found out that he's actually still alive. He's residing in Cookeville, Tennessee. Now, I'm not doxing him. He's very clear in all of his advertising that he lives in Cookeville, Tennessee. And you go, wait, he's a homeless person. He started off in California, in Southern California, when we first heard about him. You're like, wait, a homeless man is advertising? Well, he's not homeless anymore. Big plot twist. He's still pretty crazy, allegedly. All of this is alleged. He moved to Cookeville, Tennessee somehow, and he owns a home. Well, it's a shack. It's a shack on a plot of land, but anyways, you're like, oh, it's like a tract house. It's a beautiful cookie-cutter house. Now, he has an abode, I guess I can say that, where he has tried starting several businesses. One of them was a soda machine that was actually his door of his house was like covered in cardboard. It's insane. Right? It's just nuts. It's all nuts. Listen, I'll give him credit for being a dreamer and a doer. He's constantly trying to start these businesses. But he's actually more active now than he was before. Like before, I was like, wow, this homeless guy, I hope he figured some stuff out. I hope he got the help he needed. Let's look at this old website. He's building websites now. He has businesses in operation that I discovered because of the lawsuits. So, Jessica, thank you so much for sending this stuff over. This is all like legal documents, right? He's suing people left and right. So they have all of these documents out there. One of these lawsuits I was reading the other day, this is all recent, right? These lawsuits are like in 2025. I think the earliest one I found was like 2022, but he sued Stripe, which is a credit card processing service for internet, for websites. And I'm looking at this lawsuit, and obviously he lost. He loses all of these lawsuits. At the end, they're like, not only do you lose this lawsuit, you can never file it again. A lot of times in the court record, they're like trying to explain his misspelled words and the like legal terms he's making up. It's quite entertaining to read. But anyway, so he sued Stripe because he said he bought a website or like a web hosting service and Stripe wouldn't process any of his payments. Something like that, right? It is a legal document, so I'm not like the legalese expert. It's kind of hard for me to understand some of the stuff. You're like, Jason, you're just making fun of this guy for spelling errors. You can't pronounce half the words you say. And you say you can't understand these documents either. Well, anyways, yeah, but I'm reading this lawsuit he has against Stripe, which he lost, and it brought up the fact that he was suing them on behalf of his website, sellgauntlets.com. And I go, what? What is this? What are I know what a gauntlet is. He had a website where he was selling gauntlets. And because he's this crazy homeless man, we have just a few photos of him in existence, but he's the guy who, for a necklace, wears a piece of twine tied around a toothbrush. Like, on one hand, that is pretty insane drip. I mean, I've never seen it before. But on the other hand, when I'm reading that he sells gauntlets online, I was like, oh my God, he's like He's basically supplying the bump fights. He's the Vince McMahon of the bump fights. He's the guy in charge of everything. He's building these gauntlets, these battle armor for your hands. It's like, that's dope. Now, as I'm reading this lawsuit, I go, well, I don't think the website's still around, but maybe I can find it on the archives. And I did. And you will never be able to measure someone's disappointment, which instantly turns into insane joy. Because when I finally got the website, which will be all in the show notes, I instantly realized that he was not selling gauntlets. And you go, Jason, of course, nobody sells gauntlets online. He might, right? He totally might be making gauntlets out of soda cans and trying to sell them as this combat thing. I was disappointed that he wasn't selling gauntlets, and then once I realized what he was actually selling, my heart grew 3 sizes big. It was basically like a Grinch moment. I was like, oh, I better call the doctor. I wonder if in previous episodes we mentioned this, because I think that there were vague comments about something he was selling, but we didn't know exactly what it was. I don't remember exactly. I know he turned his doorway into a vending machine, and they were posting photos of that, and it was a vending machine that only worked from like 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. because he was the vending machine. He was on the other side of the door. He's like, okay, now it's time for me to watch television. I think at one point we found out he was selling beverages, and we're like, so is he just like buying Monster? Is he buying Red Bull and then just throwing them to people when they put in money through a cardboard slot? Gauntlets, I found out, is actually... You ready? You ready? Because I wasn't ready. This is fantastic. Gauntlets are a home-brewed drink. Max Kremer was making a beverage in his house. Once you go to this website and click around a bit, you too can see a photo of this beverage called Gauntlets, and it should come as no surprise. It's mud brown. It's the brownest liquid you can see. The color of mud and the consistency of diarrhea. You go, Jason, you're making that up. Click on the links. You're like, no, I'm good. I don't want to click on the links. No. If you think I'm making it up, click on the links. Because when I was researching this, I started gagging. He has a photo of all of these bottles of gauntlets. Each bottle contains about 8 ounces of fluid, according to the label, but you can clearly see some of them have more fluid than the other in this photo. There's probably about 16 bottles of gauntlets, this mud-colored, diarrhea consistency drink. The label says, and each label's different as well. The wording is different. So he's typing these out individually. Well, I guess, okay, so you go, what's in this? Here are the ingredients. Water, sugar, coffee, grape. You go, grape flavor? No, just a grape, just a smashed up grape. It doesn't say grape extract or grape juice. Water, sugar, coffee, grape, cranberry, echinacea. Is that how you pronounce that? Licorice root, marshmallow leaf root, fennel. It goes on and on. Normal stuff. But he does get down to the acids, which makes me a little... I know there's like food acids, but I don't know if he goes, oh, you need acid in here? He's all putting battery acid. Allegedly, that's a joke. He's very litigious. That's something that I found out. He files lawsuits a lot. It's pretty interesting. I just noticed this detail because here's the thing. He has this photo of all these gauntlet drinks, and some of the labels are dirty. Like, they've been stained with, like, imagine that. Imagine you go to get an energy drink at a store, and on the Monster can, there's, like, crusted Monster juice on the outside. You'd be like, what? Also imagine that the can is a bottle, and the bottle has a label that was printed out from a printer, and you can clearly tell it was cut with scissors and put on there. I didn't notice this last night. I was looking at these gauntlets, and I read you the ingredients off the main one, and then I look over at the one to the left, and somebody wrote in, Max obviously did, but he wrote in with an ink pen on this pre-printed label, he wrote in with an ink pen, hallucinogenic. I go, wait, what? I didn't notice that last night. That's when I go, oh, the labels are different. He wrote it with a ballpoint pen, so like you can barely read it. Certain letters are fuzzy, hallucinogenic, and it has not the same ingredients. Obviously, you're like, there's a hallucinogen in it. Is the acid like LSD? No, apparently, he added in cannabis sativa and 0.3% delta-9 THC, which isn't that the thing that the government is trying to ban? Isn't that like the super potent stuff that they're trying to get rid of? Well, anyways, before the government shuts him down, you can buy some of this. I think. Here's the problem. I found out about this way too late. Like, the website's down. I had to use the Wayback Internet Archive or whatever to find it. There was a button. Buy now. Right? We could have had some of this stuff. If you look at the... So that's the front label, right? Whoever thought reading nutrition information would be so entertaining. On the back, he shows a copy of the back label. And according to Max, he typed this out. It's also stained. The label is just as stained as the front. It says, and here's the... I don't think this is true. I don't think this is true. If this was true, everyone would do this. Coca-Cola would say, shut down the bottling plant. Move it into the CEO's residence. Because according to Max Kremer, on the back of this bottle that you buy that you're about to drink, it says, here's a quote, "This product was produced at a private residence that is exempt from state licensing and inspection." Unquote. I don't think that's true, right? I think, if anything, you need to have more license and more inspection. I don't think that if you make liquid at home for human consumption, you're exempt from any regulatory oversight. None. He continues with his label. This is on his label. "This product was produced at a private residence that is exempt from state licensing and inspection. This product may contain allergens." That's all fine. Not true. The first part's not true. I can almost guarantee it contains allergens. Even if you weren't allergic to anything, this would trigger something inside of you. But let me continue. It says that, exempt from state licensing and inspections, this product may contain allergens. Continuing, this is the quote. This is the very next sentence on his beverage that he was trying to sell worldwide through his website. Quote, "This product may contain allergens. Kappa Tax Sorority Apartments is so awesome. Located at," his address. I'm not going to read that online on the podcast. But that's another hustle he's been trying to get going for years. He believes that he started a sorority on his parcel of land. And for years, he's been trying to get local college girls to move there. Only girls can move in. And you have to provide a picture when you fill out the application. Kappa Tax Sorority is what he calls it. So on the back of his beverage, he's now trying to hype up his sorority, which is something that you want to know, that Red Bull also has a sorority, and it's awesome. And here's how to join. Microwavio. I don't know if he's changed his name to that. That's one of his website names. People in Cookeville, Tennessee, when they talk about him online, they call him Microwavio. Microwavio is there's continuing the quote, "Microwavio is a legal expert and the CEO and lives at Kappa Tac. Rent is $500 per month." Remember, this is on a beverage. This is on a drink. This is not a sign outside his house. This is not a flyer. Quote, "Rent is $500 per month. Women can send their application through the mail with a pic. We are hiring bikini models, $20 per hour, over 18. Food factory manager, $1,000 salary, over 21. Do not call phone number." And what's the very next thing he writes after that last sentence? On his bottle, after already telling you that you can't inspect his drinks, nobody can, he's above the law, after hyping up his sorority, after hyping up his own business acumen, after offering jobs, want to be a bikini model? You want to work at a food factory that has no regulations at all, so I'm assuming safety is also off the table. He writes, "Do not call phone number." The very next thing, his phone number. Like, what are you talking about, dude? Why would you even put that on there? If you don't want me to call you, it's easy. Don't put your number on there, and I won't. I don't know your number. Do not call phone number, and then he writes out his full number. And then it says microwavio.com, manufactured by Microwavios TM. He's always trademarking. So he has this gauntlet drink, and you go, so is this an energy drink? I don't know. I'm not going to test it. This is something you would want to take to a laboratory and start off, I don't know, maybe on sea turtles or mice, and then eventually move up to monkey before you let a man get a hold of this. But when I'm reading it on the website, he has 2 different products he sells. They're both called Gauntlets. One is this drink, and the other is some sort of powder that you mix in with your water at your home. He goes, is your pipes rusty? Are you getting bad drinking water? Because I sure am. That's why all my gauntlets are brown. But he goes, no, you having unclean water at home, buy my gauntlet powder and put it in your water. It's a water purification. I go, wait, what? So what is he selling? Is he selling powder that purifies your water? Or is he selling jars of muddy water that have grape and cranberry in them? I don't understand, which is par for the course, right? But I'm looking at this website and I go, this was from last year. I was figured out, I kind of hoped that he'd gotten better. This makes no sense. So you can buy a powder that purifies your water, but then I also, when I'm going through this website, it's pretty bare bones, right? He tried getting this going and it didn't work because he couldn't take online payment. Oh, that's the first thing. When you go to his website, the very first thing is this rant against Stripe. He goes, I can't take credit cards. I'm trying to sell this stuff online. I guess you could mail me cash or something. Like, before you even look at the product, he's talking about how he can't take credit cards. So, is this a powder that purifies your water? Which, to be fair, I wouldn't test that either. I'm not testing any of this stuff. But I go, is it a water purifier? Or is it like a little powdered mix that you put in water and it turns it into gauntlets? And you watch your water turn brown. There's a grape beer. You're out of grape beer. Was there a grape seed in there? Is there some sort of time warp? An entire grape grew up right before my eyes. He says on the websites, he goes, because he says that he's trying to get the product into stores. Can you imagine that? Oh my God, I would have loved to be a retailer. I almost want to go back in time and change my life. Just simply so I own a store in Cookeville, Tennessee, and watch him come in one day with a giant milk crate full of gauntlets and hear his pitch. Because let me interrupt it. I'm actually really disappointed in myself that I didn't find this earlier. Because this website was up last year. I believe, 2024, 2025. So very recent. Because I'm honestly a little upset about myself for this. Because I didn't find this website quick enough, he was selling stickers for $2. Which is a pretty good price, because we're going to talk about how much the other stuff he was selling was. But he was selling stickers for $2, and I was like, oh, I would love to just see one. Plus to own something that he touched that I don't have to put in my body. Like, I could get a sticker and go, oh, that's cool. I put it on my laptop. I don't want him shipping one of these bottles to my house. I don't know what's in it. The DEA may kick in my door. DEA, Homeland Security might come in. I was like, whoa, this stuff doesn't have to be regulated. That's what it says on the bottle. They're like, it also says hallucinogenic. I was like, oh yeah, sorry about that part. They sold stickers. I would have loved to have a sticker this guy made. The sticker, I would have loved to get a sticker, but also because I wasn't paying attention, I didn't know this was going on. If you look at the website, there is a song about gauntlets. He wrote and performed a advertising jingle about this drink, but it won't play. Because the site's down and I'm just looking at an archive. Like, I clicked on that play button, hoping beyond hope, and I just watched the little graphic go, and then I was like, we've never heard him speak. We've actually never had a recording of him at all. And if it was a song, if it was an advertising song, talk about lost media. Max Kremer wrote and produced, and that might be, obviously giving it, like, maybe he just sat in front of a microphone and did mouth noises, but he crafted an advertising jingle for this drink, and it's lost to time. He's also becoming very, looking at a lot of stuff he's posting online, he's becoming very leery of outsiders like early Chris Chan, because he knows he's getting trolled. He's putting a lot of stuff online saying, no photos outside my house type of thing, no stopping by, not just no solicitors, but I guess people, because he's becoming quite the local legend in Cookeville, Tennessee. Like, this is some still new stuff. He's very young. I was surprised when we saw that photo of him, and I've seen a more recent photo. He's probably in his late 20s, early 30s. And just from the early stories we covered and the website that had been down for a long time, his first one, Immortal Jewish Car Machine, I thought he had to be my age, if not older. I'm 49. And I think locals are definitely talking about him online, posting about him on Reddit. And that's how Jessica found my podcast, because they were talking about it on Reddit. And she goes, I want to know more about Max Kremer. And then, of course, we talk about him all the time. But anyway, so a song, truly lost the media. I would love to hear that song. But, I will regret that. I'll be honest. I will regret that for a long, long time. Wish I could go back in time and just click play. Anyway, so he says you can buy the liquid version of Gauntlets at a store. And I'm also assuming at his vending machine. But he's not allowed to ship it out of state. He lets us know. He says that he can't ship it out of state until he builds a factory. I don't know. I was wondering why he had a factory manager position. He's living in a little tiny place on this plot of land. Yeah, he's trying to build a factory. Apparently it'll cost $4,000. Because that's how much factories cost these days. A little amount of money, $4,000, you can have a factory up and running. Smokestacks going, Gauntlet pouring into little vials. He can't ship it out of the state. I understand why, okay? Part of it could have to do with the hallucinogenic properties. The other one, even the normal stuff, what's in the bottle? So if you wanted it out of state, you could get the powder. But I go, that's not the same thing. The powder, it purifies the water, right? But maybe it's like a powdery Gatorade mix that'll turn water into whatever the drink is. But here's the thing. You go, okay, Jason, well, that's fantastic. Fantastic news. You should have been doing your job, though. You should have found that song. I know. But let's say you do want some gauntlets. Let's say you want, how much were these worth? As far as we know, he's not selling them anymore. But how much would these cost? I don't know if this is super reasonable. I mean, I guess it depends on what the drink actually does. If it's a powerful energy drink, if it's a water treatment plant, I don't know, whatever. But it's $6 for about 8 ounces of fluid. That sounds a little pricey, but I mean, if it's hallucinogenic, I think that's actually pretty low. I think that's a steal. $6 for a bottle. But he has on his website, right? You have, different options. So when you go to Amazon, you can choose to buy 3 bars of soap or 10 bars of soap. You have the little drop down. He has different options. You can buy one bottle of Gauntlets for $6. Or there's a button on his website that you can click. There's a button you can click for one bottle for $6. If you click this other button, you can buy 1 million bottles of Gauntlet. It's like, dude, you don't even have a factory yet. You're trying to get money to build a factory. How are you going to sell? I mean, I don't think most companies ever have 1 million of anything on hand. 1 million bottles of Gauntlet. Now, to be fair, this is a steal. One bottle costs $6. 1 million bottles cost $500,000. And free shipping. Free shipping. Not a free warehouse to store 1 million 8-ounce bottles, but free shipping. For $500,000, you could get 1 million bottles of Gauntlet. But he does let you know. You have to decipher what he means. I think I figured it out because I've been reading this website. But underneath the option to buy 1 million Gauntlets for $500,000, he wrote, quote, and then in parentheses, so quote, parentheses, upgrade facility. So he's trying to build that factory, right? If he got $500,000, he's like, I can build 10 factories and have money left over. Well, you could build more than that. I know my math is bad. 100 factories, whatever. He says, quote, upgrade facility, and then he estimates the delivery time would be 4 months. So if you gave him 500 grand, in 4 months, he will build a factory with that money. Because there's no regulation, right? You can build whatever you want on your piece of land. No regulation whatsoever. In 4 months, not only will he build a factory, in 4 months, he'll also produce 1 million bottles of Gauntlets and ship them to you. Now that almost feels like, if I was a super wealthy man, I would have said, okay, Max, let's see what you can do. I will give you 500 grand because I have hundreds of millions of dollars in my account. I will give you 500 grand. And I'm also going to send out a reality show crew. I'm going to send out a television crew. We're going to shoot a reality show and see if you can do it. Because maybe you can. Maybe you can't, but either way, it's going to be excellent television. If you do it, it'll be this amazing story about drive and grit and getting your dreams accomplished. And if you can't do it, then it'll just be the Max Kremer show, which is definitely just as interesting as well. Each episode, you come up with a new idea, and we see how it goes. But yeah, if I had I'm being totally serious. If I had $100 million when this website was up, Jason, just donate to charities. You're always covering all these horrible true crimes. They have GoFundMes and stuff like that. Yeah, I'd probably do that too, but I would definitely give him 500 grand. If I had $100 million, I 100%, like, you're burning money. No, because I would send out a reality show crew. Oh, you guys are shutting off the podcast. We thought better of you, Jason. 500 grand can change a lot of lives. Yeah, true, but if we would have had his theme song, I would have said, record the theme song for your own show. 500 grand, that would be an amazing feat, right? If someone could build a factory and produce 1 million of anything, 1 million marbles, 1 million bubbles, just have someone blow bubbles for 4 months and see if they can blow 1 million of them. But anyways, unfortunately, I don't have $100 million and the website is not in operation. But if you say you just wanted to buy the powder, you can buy 1,000, it's always these huge amounts, right? You can buy 1,000 vials of this powder, which he calls at this point, because it's always changing, right? I don't even know what this means. You can buy 1,000 Gauntlets soda machine syrup boxes. And you go, I know what that is. That's what they hook up at fast food restaurants. Why? You didn't let me finish. 1,000 Gauntlets soda machine syrup boxes powder. You're like, wait, what? What is it? Is it the syrup? Or it's powder? You can't get... Those are like so far apart. They're two completely different things. They're not even close. If someone asked if you wanted syrup on your waffles, and instead they gave you maple powder, you'd be, what? It would probably actually still be delicious. You're like, oh, that does sound pretty good. But they're not even close. You order, what is this? Well, nobody bought it. Nobody bought any of this stuff. But anyways, for 1,000 Gauntlets soda machine syrup boxes powder, which we don't know, that was 60 grand. So I don't even know what that is, but that's super expensive. I would just buy the drink. I'm never going to drink it. I might throw it at somebody's house. It immediately eats through their wall. It's like, oh, that's what all that acid was for. Well, that's Max Kremer's latest madness. Again, it was a moment in time. I honestly wish I had known about it. I would have listened to that song. Super curious, right? It's being like so close. I was talking to a friend the other day and I said, this song is like my great white whale. Like, I know it existed at one point and now it's gone. I mean, he probably has it, but I don't. Someone had Moby Dick. Moby Dick's wife was like, come here, honey, give me a big hug. And Ahab was like, oh no, I wanted a hug from you. But yeah, it got away. Unfortunately, that's where we're at. But so that is the latest update of Max Kremer. And you go, whoa, wait, Jason. You said lawsuits. You started this off saying Max Kremer's been involved in lawsuits. And then you said that he sued Stripe. And you found out about this website. Well, yes, good paying attention early on. Lawsuits. And that is why right now I'm going to announce March will be Max Kremer month. every week for the next 3 or 4 weeks, every week we're going to have one Max Kremer story detailing these lawsuits. Because he's going after the big guys, by the way. He's suing Reddit. He's suing people for hundreds of millions of dollars. And the lawsuits are just super entertaining to read because obviously you have all these legal professionals constantly like correcting his spelling. And it's just this crazy thing, why he's suing these people, how the lawsuits progressed, how people dealt with all of this madness. Multiple lawsuits. And I will tell you one thing. I looked into multiple lawsuits. One of them, he was right. Like, okay, maybe that's going too far. But one of them, he made this claim that was so ridiculous. And I was laughing about it. And then, like, I do my due diligence, right? Even when it's this type of crazy stuff, like, I'll look up what I can. Speaking of due diligence, this is Jason from the future. I was just editing this episode, listening to it, having a good laugh. And then I go, you know what, there actually isn't a fact that I checked. I didn't think it was a fact because it was something Max Kremer was doing. But I go, I wonder if you actually can sell food in Tennessee from your house and there's no safety inspections. And it turns out you can, right? Residents of Tennessee, you guys can buy food from each other that technically has no safety inspections. I was looking at the law, and they have, like, in the paperwork, they measure cupcake water density. So, I mean, they do take it pretty seriously. They're like, if your cupcakes have 0.88 water level, then you can't sell it from your home. But if it's this level, you can, because it's all about food safety. So apparently you can buy food from residents, and you can only do it in Tennessee. That's why he was talking about shipping out the powder. He couldn't ship out the drinks themselves, apparently. I mean, I guess, right? Also, you can only do it in Tennessee. Like, you can't ship stuff out, which I think is why he's saying the powder can get shipped out to you, but not the drinks. But who needs 1 million bottles of Gauntlet just in the state of Tennessee? What neighbor needs that? Who knows? But that was very interesting. You can make it in your house, and it can't be shipped out. You have to deliver it yourself, which is why he was going to stores. I think they can have some sort of retail relationship, but they can't have a distributor take it to the store. Also, if you do this, you have to put a label on your food, and you have to write, this product was produced at a private residence that is exempt from state licensing and inspection. This product may contain allergens. That's why he included that. And also, it is required on these labels to put your name, your address, and your phone number. So that is why he put his number, but told people not to call it. He legally had to give his phone number. So, I mean, listen, man. Max Kremer, sometimes he's just following the law. Sometimes he's wearing human skin, impersonating fathers, and sometimes he follows the letter of the law. But I was wrong. So I'm just clarifying. I did a little more due diligence as I was editing, and you can buy, the law says, you can buy food from residents in Tennessee. They can make it in their house, and it doesn't have any regulations or inspections. So just adding that in there because, again, talk about due diligence, I realized I didn't check that out. Maybe that is accurate. And he was right. And speaking of being right, let's jump back into the rest of the episode here. This guy, Max Kremer, we'll do this next week because I think this is super interesting. To sandwich in between all of his insane lawsuits. He sued a company alleging this, and I laughed, and then I looked it up, and no, that product is actually super dangerous, and multiple people have been injured by it and continue to be injured by it. But his lawsuit was thrown out because of, like, technical stuff. Like, he didn't file it in the right place, and because he's trying to sue international companies. But the initial claim, I don't know if it was worth $100 million or whatever he sued him for. The initial claim sounds laughable, but I did a little bit of research, and it turns out that this particular product is dangerous. And also, after reading his rant about this product, I ordered it. I ordered it from Amazon. It's very popular. We'll talk about it next week. But also by next week, I will let you know that I will be smelling like Max Kremer. Like, what? Is that a threat, Jason? Are you okay? Can we call, like, Health and Human Resources? No, you don't need to call anybody. I will not explain it anymore until next week. You're like, Jason, I'm really concerned that you're going to try to smell like a homeless man who has a home but continues to act homeless. It's I saw this in this lawsuit, all this stuff, and he named this product, and I bought 6 of them. And I bought 6 of them on Amazon. I was like, I'm going to smell like this guy. Like, what? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Well, you'll have to come back for next week. March is the beginning of Max Kremer month. I hope to see you then. deadrabbitradio@gmail.com is going to be your email address. You can also hit us up at facebook.com/deadrabbitradio. TikTok is at deadrabbitradio. Dead Rabbit Radio is the daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime podcast. You don't have to listen to it every day, but I'm so glad you listened to it today. Have a great one, guys.